he just had a fight. And it was next day, weird on a Sunday, but nonetheless, action-packed. Some people felt like, it was a draw. And I think when you're complaining, oh, the fight should have been a draw, your fighter probably lost. Let's just keep it 100. And that is Gervonta Tank Davis versus Isaac Cruz in a very competitive fight.
Isaac Cruz. Yeah,
Isaac Cruz. I'm trying to correct you, and I'm wrong in this. Wrong as hell.
Yeah. So JD, I'm gonna kick this to you first. What is your takeaway from the fight? Was it just a bad style matchup for Tank? Or is Cruz really going to be a problem at 135, 130 pound division? Go ahead, JD.
I'll be honest, man. I think personally, from what I witnessed, I believe it was just a bad style matchup. Gervonta Tank Davis stands all of 5'5". Isaac Cruz stands all of 5'4". I would almost bet my money that Gervonta Tank Davis probably can't even recollect, name it, right, the last time he sparred anybody who was shorter than him, and he was the taller man looking down at the other dude having to box and fight at a distance and keep him off of him. So I really think it was just a unique situation where you had such a short, excellent come forward fighter that was able to, for once, we saw somebody able to get under Gervonta Tank Davis. So I think it was just awkward for Tank to have somebody who was coming under him when he's usually the fighter who's used to being under the taller fighter. And so I think it was just an awkward fight for him. I think he did enough excellent work as far as clean punching to where he deserved the victory. Isaac Cruz, by no stretch do I believe that he won the fight at all. I do think sometimes, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. When you're Gervonta Tank Davis and Floyd Mayweather and the money team, have done an excellent job of publicizing you as an excellent KO artist, I think everybody's expectation anytime you step in the ring is going to be to see somebody get dropped to the canvas and possibly get knocked out. And then when you couple that with the fact that Isaac Cruz really, even though he probably may be better than a Rolly Romero, he was a replacement. So you already know the notion that the public is going to have when you're fighting a last-minute replacement, and then this last-minute replacement goes 12 rounds with you, and you don't drop him. I think naturally a lot of people, due to expectation, are automatically going to give Isaac Cruz a little bit more credit than probably you would have given him if you knew his name and you had higher expectation of Isaac Cruz. But overall, man, I just think it was a bad style matchup. In my opinion, I don't think Gervonta Tank Davis is probably going to fight anybody else in the near future who's going to be shorter than him that he's going to have to jab and punch down at, trying to outbox at length. So I think it's just an odd matchup for him, but he got through it and he was able to win the fight. And the last thing I'll say too for Isaac Cruz, because two judges had the fight, 115, 113, which it shows you how close the fight was. Now, where I say that Isaac Cruz simply didn't do enough and he didn't win is because when we got to the championship round, the ultimate championship round of the 12th round, everybody observing could clearly see that Gervonta Tank Davis's left hand, I believe, was absolutely messed up. He couldn't punch with it at all. And if you're Isaac Cruz in that moment, you can't let Tank outbox you literally with one hand. Yeah. He literally in the 12th round outboxed Isaac with one hand. And so when you let a fighter do that to you, I'm sorry, and you are the B-side and a last-minute replacement, you got to finish the show and at least put a little doubt in people's mind, but you can't claim that you won when the 12th round he beat you with one hand.
Judging by the scorecards, that could be precisely what lost him the fight.
Exactly.
Draw. So
exactly. Right.
Q, what you got on?
Yeah, man. I think, and I'm glad you said that about his hand, because I think he said the 6th round. And I seen actually when he went to the corner and his trainer was like, because he was saying he was hurt. And the trainer was like, hey, I know what's going on. He said, you can hurt tomorrow. You can hurt all next week.
Right.
This is what I needed to do. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I actually saw his hand today. I don't know if y'all saw it, but his hand it's crazy swole. I don't know if it's because you know, Isaac Cruz had that. He come in with his head down like ball bull on Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying? With his guard up, and like we say, the height. He punching down on top of his head, and he say he probably broke a knuckle or two, and it was definitely swole up like that. But either way it go, yeah, it was definitely a crazy style matchup. And I was thinking, you know, with the height and everything, it could go two ways, you know, because he had like 5.5 inches of reach, like I mentioned. But, you know, somebody like that's small and shifty, with, you know what I'm saying, guard up, head down. It's hard to catch him with a jab. Like the jab is what you know, that's the range. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I mean, it wasn't that type of fight. He came in a shifty, moving, small target, and he was bringing it, you know. So, Tank had to play Matador like he said he was going to do. You know, he had to with his feet. He had to be shifty, move, use ring generalship, and Esau wasn't there to be hit like a typical. You know, we talked the Mexican style. No, he wasn't a flat-footed. He definitely wasn't a flat-footed come forward. He wasn't no zombie. You know what I'm saying? He was, you know, shifty. Like he was a pretty. You know,
and I got to give Esau credit right quick, man. To your point, Q, I got to admit, man, he definitely studied the tape of Gervonta Tank Davis's uppercuts. I mean, there was at least about 3 or 4 uppercuts that Isaac Cruz did a good job of catching the uppercuts and avoiding that devastating Leo Santa Cruz bomb.
No doubt
that he was trying to land.
And he even threw some himself. But you know,
Isaac is definitely a talent. But go ahead, Q. Go ahead.
What I didn't like, because I feel like this fight, it was a very close fight. And when it was all over, you know, there's Tank about a rematch. He was like, hell no. They don't need a rematch. I was like, man, this was a close ass fight. You know what I'm saying? I mean, okay, you know, injury and all that happened, but still was a close fight. And I just feel like the hell no part. I understand where I'd rather we would go back and see, but he did say hell no, you know what I'm saying? He probably, you know.
Go ahead, you finish.
And I could understand that, you know what I'm saying? Why do that when, you know, but end of the day, man, I actually like to see you go back and clean it up, man. I like to see you go back and
So reason why I appreciate that, and it's a breath of fresh air for me, is because Evander Holy, everybody know how tough Evander Holyfield was. And when Deontay Wilder rematched Luis Ortiz, Evander Holyfield, I don't know why you do that. Sometimes you just got to stay away.
When you win, boy, you better ride on up the road.
And so, and then you look at a Manny Pacquiao, right? Kept giving Marquez shot after shot. If you give a fighter enough chances, the only thing that can happen is he gets better and beats you, right? You know, especially if it's a close fight. We've seen what happened with Roy Jones. Roy Jones got that decision over, you know, Tarver by winning those championship rounds. Should let it go after that. But the reason why I appreciate it is because Tank is like, look, I got bigger and better things. He's a bad style matchup. And I think he acknowledged so much so once when he said that. So I appreciate his honesty, because like he was a replacement fighter. Are you going to do you really want to go back in and rematch with a replacement fighter in a close fight? He has nothing to gain by that, especially when consensus is, and you're going to have some fans and detractors. There always are going to be people in a close fight that, you know, are on either side of a decision. But for the most part, most box people understand what they saw. Very tight fight, very close fight, and you keep it moving. Sometimes it happens like that. I mean, we've seen, you know, Marcos Maidana got beat by Amir Khan, got dropped and beat by Amir Khan, but Marcos Maidana gave Mayweather hell. Right. So sometimes guys are just bad style matchups, and Tank is like, yeah, he's a bad style matchup. Because I'll say this too, and I'll go up in weight class to the Apex Predators. That's Klitschko's problem, right?
Amir Khan won that fight.
Yeah, he beat Marcos Maidana. Yep.
Oh, he dropped him early with a body shot too.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know he dropped him with a liver punch like early. And then
dropped him early. Yep. And he held on to win that fight.
Okay.
My thing is, I was going to say it works the same way with Vladimir Klitschko, in that It wasn't the fact that he wasn't used to being the bigger fighter. When he fought Tyson Fury, he didn't know how to fight like the smaller man. Right. And that's why one of the things when you saw when he fought Tyson Fury, he was so inactive, he was baffled. He didn't understand how to pressure a guy as a smaller man. On the flip side of that, we could see Tank didn't know really how to handle a smaller guy. Mm-hmm. He didn't know how to be the bigger man. He was so used to being the smaller fighter. It really dumbfounded him. And he was probably like, hell no, I ain't doing that again. And the reason why is because what JD said, he'll probably never fight a guy that size again. Mm-hmm. But all hats off to Isaac Cruz, very talented. He made a name for himself. And we probably won't see Tank versus Isaac again. But I want to see what Rolly does. If he gets his stuff straight. But I have a feeling that TMT, the money team, will serve up Rolly to Tank before they give him to Isaac. So,
yeah. And then the other thing I'll say too, to your point about giving Isaac a rematch, the honest truth is there's so many other fighters out there at 135 for Isaac to go fight. You don't give him the rematch, right away. You go let him knock off a couple of other fighters and prove that he's really a legitimate contender, and that it just wasn't. Yeah, that it wasn't just a one-off night where he just fought a hell of a fight. Almost kind of the same thing that people are going to want to see from George Kambosos. People are going to want to see if that was just a one-off night of a hell of a fight with him against Tio, or is he really the truth? So you let him go fight a few other people if you're Tank, and then if he builds up his name, then we might see Tank versus Isaac too later on down the line. Because I think even Isaac Cruz might only be like 22, 23. I think he's another youngin.
He got a bright future,
So we got another young contender. So I don't think you do that right away.
Yeah, Mayweather and the money team, they got a plan for Tank, and it's not rematching Isaac. But speaking of Mayweather, man, it brings us to the next portion of our show.